Hello and welcome to my channel, Bow and Arrow Tarot. Today we're going to get right into the weekly reading for the sign of Leo. You're up, Leo. We're going to pull out your romance angel messages and see what that is all about this week for you, January 12th to the 18th. Then we'll pull out your animal spirits, and then we're going to get right into your actual spreads. All right, guys? So let's do this. Now, your other readings are linked in the top of the description. So go ahead and check those out. Your 2020 love outlook, 2020 general outlook, and your January love reading is up. We have finances and career, major player in my readings. Unrequited love, Leo. And we have let go of control issues. All right, so interesting. Let's get right into your animal spirits. We'll know more about these once we do your spreads. Now, your animal spirits can indicate stages, energies, individuals, all of these that are coming into your life. So again, just take it as it applies to you. If it doesn't resonate with you, then it's not for you. Straight out, we have the beaver, water energy. We have the oyster, just came out also, water energy, just came out for Cancer. And we have the elephant. I love this animal spirit, fire element associated with the Hindu god Ganesh, and also the great destroyer of obstacles, right? So very strong animal spirit here with the elephant. All right, so when we talk about sort of getting into animal spirits and understanding the nature of them, we really need to look at the nature of the animal itself in the wild, right? So the beaver, although it's a very earthy creature, it is associated with water because the beaver makes its home in the water. It builds dams, and they live in these dams, right, with their families, right? So the beaver really represents the strong, earthy ability, right? This practical, hard-working, extremely hard-working animal that it then applies to creating a very warm, stable, emotional environment for itself and its family, right? The beaver is generally going to be one of these, even a parent, it can represent a parent, or even if it's not a parent, someone who really sort of works in a very sort of real day-to-day way, right, to build stability and to build sort of a safe place, right? A safe place for themselves and for their families. It's very, very nice. Very, like I said, very hardworking animal spirit. Now, the oyster is also an water elemental, right? The upside down triangle is the alchemical symbol for water. And oysters are the great keeper of secrets, right? The keeper of treasures, right? Oysters make pearls, but a lot of times, you know, how are pearls created? You know, they're actually created because little bits of sort of sand and irritants get inside the shell. They irritate the shell, and so this constant irritation is what forms the pearl. And so this can really be symbolic or sort of a metaphor for sort of our emotions, right? It's like going through very, very difficult times to create this special sort of quality inside of us, yet it is still inside of us. And so the oyster really talks about allowing the inside, the beautiful treasures and qualities that you have on the inside, to emerge and to come out into the open. Again, it's also the keeper of secrets. So this could be someone in your life who holds a secret for you, right? Or you could be resonating with this and holding on to secrets. And the one thing, though, about secrets, a lot of times they really do need to come out into the light of day, lest they continue to sort of just fester, right? And so in this way, the oyster is very much encouraged to sort of open up, right? Open up admit to certain emotions that you may be holding on to, or you may be dealing with somebody who's very closed off emotionally, and encouraging them to open up. Now, the elephant is a fire elemental. It's very, very strong animal spirit, and it is associated with abundance and wisdom coming in. Associated with the Hindu god Ganesh, which is also, the god for opulence and money and abundance and sort of all of that, right? A high level of financial stability, etc., right? But the elephant, most of all, is the destroyer of obstacles, is an extremely formidable sort of creature. You can see that there's a lot of wisdom there. We have a ruby right there in the third eye of the elephant. So there's a huge amount of intuitional wisdom as well and understanding that comes with the elephant. And in the wild, elephants actually live in jungles, right? And so in the jungle, they tend to sort of knock down trees to get to where they want to go. They're big animals, and they have a lot of obstacles in their way when they're trying to make their way to a water source or a resting place, right? That's what they do. And so the elephant is associated in our lives with sort of, overcoming huge obstacles, right? Finding the right path to our dreams and our goals, and certainly, removing obstacles to our abundance, removing obstacles to blessings and wealth, financial status, and other kinds of wealth as well that come in. Wealth is not only just monetary. It can be the wealth of family, the wealth of loving connections, etc. But the elephant is the one who will sort of create a path to that. And if that path involves destroying an obstacle or knocking down an obstacle, it will absolutely do that. So let's get right into your spreads, Leo. I'm going to pull out 4 3-card spreads for you this week. See what your week is going to be like. Now, you may resonate with these or not, and that's fine. The forecasts are intended to be separate forecasts from each other, so you may only resonate with one of the 4 spreads, and that's fine too. Show me what's going on for Leo this January 12th to the 18th. Show me. Lovers, 5 of Swords, the Hermit. So for some of you, you are in a love connection this week. You're coming in. You already have this connection. It's there. You certainly feel as though it's there. However, 5 of Swords is all about constant strife and struggling with someone who doesn't play fairly. You're met with this energy this week. And I'm going to say for some of you, you're in a love connection where this is very much about letting go of control issues. And just letting go. The 5 of Swords is when you're battling. 5 is always the number for a power struggle. And the 5 of Swords is when you have a power struggle with someone who doesn't play fairly. They don't play by the rules. They're very underhanded. And so it can be the card for defeat. But oftentimes this defeat it's a defeat that we acquiesce to, right? It's a defeat that we accept in lieu of taking the high ground. This is an understanding that if you continue to battle with this type of individual, the only thing that's going to happen is that you get dragged down to their level and the battling continues. Nobody ever really sort of wins in this scenario. And so you kind of throw your hands up and say, you know what? I accept defeat in this sort of situation so that I can get away from it and move on. Somewhere along the line, some of you Leos have a love connection or some kind of union with someone where there's always strife, there's always arguing, there's a lot of gossiping and backstabbing that's been going on. And it's been a general power struggle, and this week you decide to give it up. You let go of the control issues that perhaps are involved in this sort of scenario and this dynamic, and you round your week off with Hermit energy. You decide to leave. You decide to leave, and you decide to be on your own and walk a solitary path for a little while, getting into yourself, getting away from this energy, and I think you leave this love connection behind. 3 of Pentacles, Temperance energy, and Justice. So Temperance is, of course, Lovers is associated with Gemini, just so you know. Temperance is Sagittarius energy. Justice is Libra energy. And this week we come into, Leo, this 3 of Pentacles. Cancer also had this for one of their spreads. And Three of Pentacles is a time in your life where your career is beginning to sort of spread out into working with others. It could be that if you have a business, you're beginning to gain a loyal customer base, right? If you're working in a certain career, you're beginning to work with groups of people, or you may be, called on to sort of work as part of a project, right? In any case, you're getting attention for your skill. You're getting attention for your craft or your abilities within your field, right? And so this week you're coming in with this energy. You're met with temperance energy, and there's a need to sort of temper yourself, right? There's a need to remain absolutely in control. Temperance is when you understand yourself, you understand your emotions and your passions, you understand the water and the fire side of yourself, and you really sort of, there's an interplay there of those two emotions, in the sense that you are always in charge of how you are behaving and acting, and the steps that you're taking, the things that you're saying, and nobody can really get you off your square. This is what temperance is all about. It's being tempered and not reacting, right? It's having full control of yourself. The first four is the Emperor, and the Emperor has control of others, as it were. He's sort of the authority amongst men. Here we're talking about 14, Temperance, being really the true authority of yourself and not having anybody else sort of pull you around, push you around, get you to behave in ways that are not in line with the way you want to behave. And so you're being very strong and tempered. You round your week off with Justice energy, and there's a rebalancing that comes in. It could very well be that something quite unfair has been happening in your career area. And through your temperance this week, you're able to sort of rise above it, or at least work through it until there is a rebalancing. Some kind of judgment or decision is going to come in that kind of rebalances this scenario. It could be that perhaps, it could be like a promotion, or it could be a decision. It could be, it's some kind of event, and generally justice can indicate sort of an official event, right? Something that is recognized by everyone else around, that brings harmony, that more than anything brings balance to a situation. And so certainly this sounds like a work scenario, a career scenario, where you've had to be very patient, you've had to continue to be strong, you've had to continue to keep working and waiting until this comes in. But this week, this decision comes in, and it brings sort of everything back to sort of the way it should be. Death comes in for you. 9 of Cups. Queen of Swords. Some of you are coming into this week with death energy, in the sense that everything in your life is transforming, Leo. There's huge changes coming in. And death in the tarot does not represent a real death, but it represents the death of a scenario environment that you're in, the physical changing of things around you, right? And it is formidable. It's not something that you can stop. It's sort of meant to happen and needs to come in. And so this is what you're going through right now. There's a real transformation. It could be that you're moving jobs, you're moving homes, you may be changing social scenes. All of it may be happening all at once. In any case, you're met with a 9 of Cups energy, and there's a real feeling of being blessed this week. I think although this change has come into your life, it may have been very frightening at first and maybe sort of a little bit scary, right? Could be a situation of letting go of control issues to allow this transformation or change to come in. But right away this week, you are met with 9 of Cups, in the sense that you really wake up to how blessed you are and how necessary this transformation was needed in a certain area of your life. You round off the week with a Queen of Swords. So for some of you, I think this change also involves you sort of coming out of your role, or your sort of I want to say coming out, as it were, period. Just coming out of a position where you have not been quite honest with yourself about who you are and what you desire. Perhaps you haven't really been presenting yourself as honestly as you could out of fear, right? But you're able to now, right? And so it's almost like a real change. Like, an example is like if you are Say, for instance, that you have a certain lifestyle or you have something going on about you that you've wanted to keep hidden from the world, right? But it's something that makes you very happy or what have you. It's who you are, you know. Perhaps an example could be like maybe if you're an artist, right? And your family doesn't want you to be an artist. They want you perhaps to be a financier or accountant or something that you're really not into, right? And there's a huge change and transformation that comes in. This is just an example. This transformation or change comes in this week and it really frees you to be the artist that you want to be. And you realize exactly how blessed you have to have this gift. With Nine of Cups, you realize that you actually have relationships in your life and connections in your life that support this gift, and that, you know, you're happy. You find yourself being very happy, whereas before you may not have realized that, right? You may have been quite unhappy, but there's a realization of being blessed, being happy where you're at, being happy with the connections you have, and all of this kind of serves for you to sort of have the confidence to come out and say, look, this is who I am. I am an artist. I will always be an artist. I'm into what it is that I'm doing. And, you know, this is me. I'm not going to hide behind any sort of masks. I'm not going to play any role that my family wants me to play. And you also require this of people around you. This feels like a real, like I say, a real letting go of control issues, whether it's your control issues or forcing other people to let go of control issues regarding you. In any case, it feels like a real coming out this week of who you truly are. And a relief as well, because it is exhausting to wear a mask. It's exhausting to pretend to be someone you're not, you know, because of pressure or fear or responsibilities to others. And so that release is feeling very good to you this week. Last spread, Moon energy. Four of Pentacles, Three of Swords. So some of you are coming into this week with a feeling of being very much tested. Something is going on, I want to say, in a perhaps a connection with a person. It could be a love connection. It could even just be a strong friendship. But there is a connection with somebody this week. But this, and I say that because you round the week off with Three of Swords. But you begin your week kind of feeling like you don't have all the answers. You don't have all the information, yet you need to press forward. It's a feeling of almost being tested. It's a feeling of perhaps being a little bit fearful about how things will turn out. But you nevertheless, you know you have to go through it. You know you have to go through this particular stage or this event that's coming up, right? And so you entered this week with a lot of trepidation and a lot of, perhaps maybe even a little anxiety, you know, not really being sure of how everything will turn out, but certainly having the resolve that you have to get through it. You're met with a Four of Pentacles, which is, it's kind of now you're in the thick of it, right? You knew you had a feeling that something there was hidden from you, and that, you know, this was going to be a difficult road to follow. And then once you get in the thick of it, you realize that this is something that could impact your finances. Four of Pentacles is a real feeling of having your financial stability threatened in some way, or feeling as though it is you know, at the mercy of someone else, right? And so you're wanting to protect it. It can be the card for greediness and miserliness, right? So you could also be dealing with somebody who is resonating with a lot of miserliness, a lot of greed. They may be keeping a lot of sort of financial stability to themselves rather than sort of extending it to you. They may be sort of treating you differently for some reason, or not providing the support that you really thought you would have, especially during this period. In any case, this feeling, it comes out of fear. So whether you're fearing for your financial stability or sorry about that break. In any case, in either situation, whether you're fearing your financial stability or someone else is fearing for their financial stability, it's causing a sort of a negative version of this Four of Pentacles, right? It's causing like a feeling of pulling back, maybe of being a bit of a miser, of being unwilling to support you. And you round off with a Three of Swords, which is a feeling that somebody's let you down. This feels very much like somebody may have promised you that they would be there for you, and in the end they lied or they misrepresented themselves. Because the Three of Swords is not a cup card, by the way. It's oftentimes interpreted as a cup card because people don't get past the fact of the heart being pierced by the Three Swords. In its essence, it is obviously a swords card, and swords is all about communication and the mental, right? And so here we have a situation where somebody really sort of their communication is not wholesome. It's not loyal in the sense that they may have said one thing and done another thing, right? They've perhaps promised something and then reneged on that promise. And whatever the case is, it feels like a real sort of stab to your ego. It feels almost as if like you were duped or tricked. A lot of times this is interpreted as third-party energy, but the third-party energy is simply somebody who's lying to you. That's all it is, you know, somebody who tells you that they're being faithful and they're not being faithful. So at its core, it is still the same sort of energy that it all comes from, which is somebody sort of perhaps misrepresenting themselves or just, you know, using their words and using their actions to hurt you in a way that you didn't expect. And so I think this is going to be coming out for you, some of you this week. And certainly that may indeed be the lesson that, you know, not everything everyone tells you is the 100% truth. And sometimes in this particular situation, it's definitely going to feel a little bit very much like a letdown. All right, my lovely Leos, this is your January 12th to the 18th reading. I do hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to check out your other readings, which are linked in the description. If you'd like to get a private reading, go ahead and follow those links at the top of your screen. Tarot Answers is a great service. It's a 10-minute recorded tarot reading for you to answer one of your questions, and that's turned around the same day, usually within 4 to 6 hours of you booking it. But for right now, Leo, have a wonderful, wonderful week, and don't forget to check me out next week for your weekly. Bye-bye now.